Good day everyone. In this video, we're going to tackle about the Japanese occupation of Moroland and its aftermath. So these are the objectives. At the end of this module, the students should be able to answer the following questions. First one is, what was the condition of Moroland during the Japanese occupation? Second is, what were the people's reactions to the Japanese occupation? And the last one is, what was the impact of Japanese occupation on Moroland and the people? Lesson proper. Noong 1941, ang pamahalaan ng Commonwealth ng Pilipinas ay naharap sa pagkaabala dahil sa World War II. Nang salakayin ng Japan ang bansa noong December 8. Ang Pangulo ay si Manuel L. Quezon at ang mga pangunahing opisyal ay lumikas sa Corregidor Island at kalaunan ay pumunta sa Australia. At sa huli ay nagpunta sa Estados Unidos kung saan nagtatag sila ng isang pamahalaan sa pagkatakas sa Washington, D.C. So kung gusto niyo malaman kung ano ang Corregidor Island is a strategically located rocky island at the entrance of Manila Bay. So it is located malapit sa Manila Bay in the Philippines. Historically significant at serve as a crucial defense outpost during various conflicts, particularly in World War II, originally fortified by the Spanish in the 18th century, and it was used as a customs checkpoint for ships entering the bay. So, yun ang Corregidor Island. Samantala, ang mga Hapon ay nagtatag ng isang puppet regime na tinatawag na Ikalawang Republika ng Pilipinas na pinamunuan ni Jose P. Laurel na hindi popular sa mga Pilipino. Nagpatuloy si Quezon bilang Pangulo hanggang sa kanyang pagkamatay noong 1944. Pagkatapos nito ay kinuha ni pangalawang Pangulo Sergio Osmeña ang kanyang tungkulin. A puppet regime or ang puppet government refers to a state that is officially independent but is effectively controlled by an external power. While it may have the outward symbols of sovereignty such as a flag and government, it lacks genuine authority and operates under the influence or direction of a foreign entity. Puppet regimes often arise after military conquest, allowing the controlling power to maintain control while appearing to respect local governance. These governments, or this type of government, are typically not recognized as legitimate by the international community and are criticized for their lack of true independence. During World War II, Japan wanted to expand its territory in Asia, and they used the slogan, Asia for the Asians, to suggest that they were freeing Asian countries from Western colonizers. However, instead of truly liberating these nations, Japan aimed to take control and become the new colonizer in place of the Western powers. This led to Japan invading several Asian countries as they tried to establish their own empire. So, ang unang tanong ay, what was the condition of Moroland during the Japanese occupation? So, noong December 1941, nagsimula ang World War II in Moroland. Ang Moroland ay located sa southern Philippines. With the Japanese invasion of Davao and Jolo by April 1942, they also invaded Cotabato and Lanao. The Japanese aimed to occupy these areas to establish air bases, facilitating their military operations and expansion into neighboring regions like Borneo and Celebes. This strategy was part of Japan's broader goal to strengthen its control over Southeast Asia during the war, leading to significant conflict and resistance from local populations, particularly the Moros. The Japanese could have turned the table in their favor had they studied and understood the situation of the Moros and Lumad of Mindanao and Sulu. They could have exploited moral dissatisfaction with the Commonwealth government and the discriminatory laws it implemented to win moral loyalty and cooperation to the Japanese side. But they had no idea about the existing situation. Instead, they simply treated the Moros in the same way they treated most native people that they invaded, which was perhaps worse than the way the new Commonwealth colonizers treated them. And Peter Going says that Japanese occupation forces did not understand the Moros in the Philippines and failed to exploit their discontent. Instead, they treated the Moros similarly to other Filipinos, using brutality and terror to force compliance. This harsh treatment alienated the Moros, who might have viewed the Japanese as liberators, especially given their negative experiences with American and Christian Filipinos. Ultimately, the Japanese actions pushed the Moros away rather than gaining their support. The Japanese occupation was infamous for overacted martial cruelty and ruthlessness by the Japanese invading forces. On the other hand, however, the Japanese advent was somewhat a blessing in disguise, because it welded Muslim-Christian relationship together. For instance, a study conducted in 1985 concluded that in Lanao, the Japanese occupation period exemplified the best moment of Muslim-Christian cooperation and unity. This was illustrated in the fact that the Moros eagerly the United States as much resistance as they could under the Far East or Usafe, in which they offered slaughter, and when guerrilla units were organized after General Wainwright ordered surrender of the composed of Muslim and Christian volunteers. Peter Going again notes that in Cotabato, guerrilla forces were formed by Datu Salipada Pendatun and Datu Udtog Matalan, consisting of both Muslims and Christians. These groups controlled large areas of the province and worked together against the Japanese occupation. Similarly, in Lanao, the guerrilla fighters also included members from both religious communities, reflecting a united front among diverse groups in resisting Japanese forces during World War II. In Sulu, despite past tensions, Moros and Christians united in resistance against the Japanese occupation. Colonel Alejandro Suarez, a Christian, led the 125th Infantry Regiment of guerrilla forces, which included both Muslims and Christians. In Lanao, the Free Lanao civil government had more authority over the population and territory than the Japanese government. Guerrillas in Sulu established a basic government that provided supplies and printed emergency money. They effectively controlled much of the interior and islands of Tawi-Tawi, hindering Japanese movement with guerrilla tactics. Notably, Maranao guerrillas ambushed and killed 129 Japanese soldiers, prompting a brutal 26-day bombing campaign by the Japanese in retaliation. And the guerrilla movement in Sulu faced significant hardships despite its successes. Oral traditions, or kisa, recount the extreme suffering of suluk fighters, particularly a group called the Tapikans, who were relentlessly pursued by Japanese forces. Driven into the harsh jungles of Tawi-Tawi, they resorted to eating whatever they could find, including a bitter fruit named tapikan and even wild boar. Although pork is forbidden in Islam, they justify their actions by believing that Allah would understand their desperate situation. And that concludes my topic in this report. Thank you.